Welcome to the Picture This podcast.
Follow along with us as we talk about faith, relationships, and navigating through college life.
Picture this. You could have any superpower you want. What would it be and why?
I'll go first. Mine would probably be telepathy.
Oh,
I just think it's fun to be able to read people's minds.
that's different.
For some
Or
great
I'm a-
movies.
Yeah, that's scary.
Okay, mine would be talking to animals.
Oh.
I love
Aw.
animals.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Jumper. What was it? Late 90s, early 1000s. Anything he could see, he could basically teleport to. So if he saw the inside of a bank vault, he could teleport to the inside of a bank vault. If he saw a picture of the pyramids, he could teleport to the pyramids. So yeah,
That's good.
Jumper.
I was gonna say teleportation because like if it's unlimited, like that's basically flying. You could just like
Yeah.
teleport and you're flying or
Sounds
anywhere
good
you
to
want. That's a good one though. I agree with you. So this episode, well, we have two guests. This is Jenny and Aaron.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle.
Mhm. So they went to the same college that we go to. So I kind of want to open it up, and we'll get to the theme of the episode. But how did you guys meet?
Do you want to take lead?
I'll tell the story. Okay, so we met. It was my freshman year of college. It was his sophomore year. He was a transfer. And I knew of him. I had seen him around campus. He was friends with some of my friends, but we'd never really talked before. So my friends and I were sitting outside of the school's cafeteria one day, and we were talking about this event that Evangel does called Get Your Roommate a Date. Guy Rad. I don't know if that's still a thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Yep.
Okay. So we were just talking about it, and Aaron walks up. I remember exactly what you were wearing, and he was talking in this British accent.
Terrible accent.
Just to be funny and get our attention, which got my attention. And he sits down with us, and he overhears what we're talking about, and he's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to that. My roommate hasn't found anyone for me to go with. And my roommate was sitting next to me. She goes, you can go with my roommate. I was like, hey, I'm her roommate.
Hey, sometimes you got to shoot your shot. Like,
And
she's the one I wanted anyways.
So,
Like,
hey.
it was that one, but she's like, I'm not in her league was my thought, right? So,
but yeah, you were just like, okay, sure.
there
And
we
so
go.
we found each other on Facebook later that day. That was the main way of communication back then. And we just started talking, and I think we chatted for 2 weeks before we officially started dating.
Pretty good.
And funny enough, we didn't even end up going on Get Your Roommate a Date. We
Oh.
actually, it was his first time to meet you, baby Elena, and her parents. So we came to their house to introduce him. I was so
Ta-da.
nervous too, and he is very allergic to cats. And your cat,
Carlos.
Carlos, yes, was just all over him. So he was breaking out in hives on the couch as we're meeting them for the first time.
Used to be. Not nearly
yeah,
as
not
much
as
anymore.
bad anymore.
Great first impression.
Yeah.
That's fun. I love that. That's really cute.
And then when did you guys get married? Where's that timeline?
So we dated for about a
Almost
year.
exactly a year for both.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half.
Because we technically started dating on
On
Halloween. Don't ask us why. It's just a good day, good time.
And then we got married the January after. Not that January.
Right, because
but
we
the
got
one after.
engaged Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
the year
That's
after
a fun
the
story
Halloween.
too.
Yeah, tell your engagement story.
Okay. So how he asked me to Harvest Fest, which is this school dance without dancing. He asked me by filling our dorm room with balloons. And my roommate helped because it's a Christian school, so he couldn't actually come into or did you?
True.
I don't remember. So he filled the room with balloons, and inside each balloon was a flower and a little
That
note.
was hard.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, they were not real flowers because you can't get those into a balloon. But getting flowers into a balloon,
Yeah.
Not easy.
So, and there were just little random notes in each one. And then one of the balloons said, "Come to the clock tower," which is in the middle of campus. And so I remember throwing my shoes on and running because I knew what was happening. I ran to the clock tower, and there he was with the last balloon and a note inside that said, "Will you go to Harvest Fest with me?" That's where it all started. So then
She still has the note.
I still have all the notes, yeah. So how we got engaged, I went up to New York with him for Christmas break. And Christmas Eve morning, I wake up, I'm staying in his parents' basement. And so I woke up, I go to open the door to go upstairs, and the stairway is filled with balloons. I just remember thinking, oh, it's happening. Like I knew right away. And so inside each balloon was a bell for like
Also
ring.
difficult.
Yeah.
And little notes that said like, I love you, all this. And then I walk upstairs, and he's on the couch with a balloon that had the ring inside of it.
That was the most difficult because rings are pointing, and I'd probably pop 2 or 3 of them in the process.
This sounds like you do this to yourself, Aaron.
Oh, 100%.
I
But
risked that.
the best part of the story is the fact that I had spent the entire night before doing this, and about 30 minutes after, I was like, I need to take a nap now.
Yeah.
Not that she said yes.
So he,
That's
I
not
mean,
the
she
best.
said
okay.
yes, of course. But it was very much a like, okay, my work here is done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go nap. You make some phone calls.
yeah, I just called everyone while he was asleep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And where exactly did the balloon inspiration come from?
Listen,
Just your mind,
when you're a poor college student, you resort to poor options, and you can buy a lot of balloons for real cheap.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And then I was the flower girl in your wedding, and I remember
know
that.
that.
Yes, I was
You
what,
were-
4 or
I
5.
think you were like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was so
She did a good job.
good.
We'd hire her again.
There were no tears, I don't think.
You should hire her to do the balloons next time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
For
wish
what?
that many
For
balloons
what?
on
Anniversary.
anybody.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 15-year
Mhm.
wedding anniversary. So.
And what did you-
Congratulations.
What did you guys do for that?
What did we do?
We got pictures taken.
We,
Oh yes, you did.
we didn't really do anything yet.
Yeah, we get some plans later in the year.
We just like went out to dinner. And
It's the only problem with, a January wedding is it kind of, there's not many outdoor things or exciting things you can do in the middle of a freezing winter.
I think we're gonna plan a trip pretty soon somewhere.
That was the picture of this question last time. Is like, where's your dream
Oh.
location? What do you guys have in mind?
Mine was pretty much the same as Elena's.
Oh.
For my dream, that's not where we're going, but I would love to go to those places.
I'm pretty much an anywhere guy. Like,
Yeah.
Alaska's on my list. We had a great anniversary cruise that we did a couple years ago through the Eastern Caribbean. And some of those islands are
So
incredible.
nice.
St. Kitts, it's worth a visit.
Okay.
Also St. Kitts and Nevis, the Twin Islands. Good old Alexander Hamilton,
Mhm.
for any history buffs. That's where he was born.
So where are you guys planning to actually go?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't
We
know.
haven't,
Oh.
we haven't really talked about it.
Well, I want to backtrack, Jenny. I know like you were born in Spain, right? Do
Mhm.
you remember like anything about it?
No, so my parents were missionaries there for 10 years, I think, but I was 2 when we left, so I don't
Mm.
remember. We were back and forth to the States and then Spain, and then we moved to Ecuador, and I was in pre-K when we were in Ecuador, so I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the worst parts. But yeah, no, I would love to go to Spain though. It'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, me too.
So let's actually kind of dive into what this episode is going to be about. The theme, as you can probably tell by the title, being a light, what that means to you, how you see that in your day-to-day life, just kind of everything surrounding that. So we talked about how you guys met. First question I have is, what does being a light mean to you guys?
Oh, a lot. I think, especially nowadays, people don't realize the impact of their actions. So I think how we deliver ourselves in the gospel by way of how we treat other people. I'm also a huge proponent of the fact that at its core, our faith is really, really kind of easy. People try to overcomplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the commandments are all summed up into this concept of love.
Right.
You know, love your Lord your God, love your neighbor, which encompasses everybody, and then go into the world and make disciples. Like, all of those are actions of love. All of those cover everything that is the commandments. So to me, being a light at its core is exactly that. It's love. So it's, you know, love between, you know, us, husband and wife. It's a love of family, a love of hopefully soon family. You know, it's a love of
Love your neighbor.
people. You know, we walk down the street with, like, there's no reason to have a negative feeling towards really anybody, and even your enemies. Like you're always going to catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So being loving, being a light by way of love, that's to me what being a light is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Man, I got chills.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't have to be with words all the time. It can just be with actions. You know, just showing kindness to others. You know, in my workplace, it's kind of so backstory. I work for a behavioral health company, and we're not supposed to show. What am I saying?
Like
Supposed to
religious.
Yes,
You have
yes.
to kind of maintain a neutral stance.
Correct. So I'm more so showing with my actions how I treat, you know, the teachers in the school that I work in and things like that. So.
Yeah, that's good. I'll also be working in with my practicums, I'm already in the public education workplace, but walking into those, I always remember, like, I represent my school, and so I really, like, make it a priority of mine to show others that love and kindness, and just smile at everyone I walk down the hall and see. A really cool thing about my name is my name actually means shining light, and so that's always been kind of like a core mission for me, is to be a light. And like, I went to private school growing up, and then I got put into public school, and I really felt like, okay, this is my time. I'm gonna shine the love of Jesus to others, and it's a really cool thing.
I like that. So what it means to me, and it's kind of like building off of what everybody said. I go to these devos at my floor at college, and every time we end one, we like, okay, but how do you live this out? And like, what pops into my head is like, how do you demonstrate this? And so I think living it out, like being intentional, and that's the word I really like. Like, we always talk about asking guys on your floor how they're doing, and then actually diving into that. So like, but how are you really doing?
Yeah.
Right.
And so like, being more than surface level, I think is really beneficial. Like making sure that somebody's okay.
100%.
You know.
It's worth actually bringing up. You know, you've talked about your words for the year on a couple episodes. Mine this year is intentional. So yeah, I feel that through and through.
That's good. Yeah. Okay, so I have like a semi-serious story that I'll talk about, and then it's just like open for discussion after. But my senior year of high school, we had a new track coach. She actually taught at the college we go to now. But she was phenomenal. I mean, really great. She smiled everywhere she went, like just brought a smile to your face. And what I remember saying is like, she's just a light. Like, she brought the light. Unfortunately, it was like halfway through the year, and she got hit by a car and passed. And so our team just kind of like, that hit us really hard. I found out like midnight the night that it happened. The next morning, I told all the guys and girls, like, hey, meet up early, like, we need to talk, because nobody else really knew. So I had to break the news, talk to our principal, got all the guys and girls, like the team, to meet together and just talk to each other about like who she was, what she brought. And really, like, the overwhelming theme was she was the light. And so we talked like, what can we do to bring that out, and what do we do in meets? How do we carry that like theoretical, like symbolic torch from her going forward? And that, with me, it meant like a lot of the schools are pretty secular, so I was praying with guys before races, stuff like that. Just being positive and bringing that smile, going to practice joyfully. So that was my semi-serious story. And kind of a question I had was like, what do you guys see? Who brings a light in your life?
Yeah, no, that's I kind of want to take it a little bit of a different direction.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind me. Because you saying that, it really kind of spoke to something I don't think we often talk about being a light, is light creates a legacy. Even if you want to get really deep into like I used to love camping, did all the Boy Scouts, Royal Rangers, all those different things. And getting a fire started is really hard. So once you get a fire started, you want to keep it started. And if that means lighting a candle or whatever, like that concept of light, especially when you don't have it, is so valuable. So what's amazing, thinking through that story is their action ultimately is a past light to you. It's a legacy by way of light. And I think if any of us look back at the different lights that have fed into each of us, what is the legacy of that light, and how do we create a light in ourselves that passes on as a legacy? That like I said, I didn't necessarily want to take it a different direction, but it really does create an interesting thought, right?
Right.
It's light transcends a generation, both in our spiritual light, and our emotional light, all of that. So.
So talking about being a light in the little things, possibly like driving. I've been doing a lot more driving lately because I'm driving to school every morning. And the roads that I drive down, especially early in the morning, people can be mean. And it's easy for me to want to be mean back. So I don't know if you guys have had that same
Road rage is a real thing. Yeah. I drive a lot for work too. And it's funny, like I see people with, church stickers on the back of their cars, or, positive messages, and they're flipping people off as they drive by you because you cut them off or whatever. So, but like I have to remember that I need to be a light everywhere I go, and even in the car, even if someone is not driving the way that they should, and I'm upset with them, I'm still going to be kind to them, or just simple things like that.
Yeah.
I get that. I have really bad road rage, and I try to keep it like contained. And so one thing, I kind of blame my dad for this too. I drive a truck, and what we did, I got a horn from my grandpa, and if you know the old Augo horns, I bolted that in and wired it. So now I'm driving this big truck, and if I ever get mad at somebody and I lay on the horn, it just goes Auga. And so I was going down Kansas Expressway, and I'm in the right lane, and it's like it weaves. And so I come out of the weave, and this guy just cuts me off. And I just like take a deep breath, and I lay on the horn, and then I just like have to laugh to myself because it's so dumb. He doesn't even see me. He just looks and then just looks straight ahead. And I don't even think he knew what was going on. So I do understand that. I get the road rage. I'll ride people's tails, and I'm like, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
So tough in Springfield.
Yeah.
You have a huge college town. You have a bunch of old people.
Yeah. Well, what about, this week was the presidential inauguration on Monday, and social media has been tough. Facebook specifically,
Yeah.
it's tough seeing what everyone's saying about it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not want to respond to, all the comments that you want to respond to, but it's like, I don't want to, dig a deeper hole,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
No, I think that goes right back to, more flies with honey than vinegar, man.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. My dad, I just kind of wanted to backtrack what he does driving. He has started to bless people. If anybody cuts him off, he just goes, Lord, please bless that person.
Yeah.
And I aspire to be like that. But this is a season of people can get really angry, and I understand that.
Yeah, so all those comments you see on Facebook, just say, I bless this person, I bless this
Exactly.
person.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
good.
Okay, so I had a second story that I kind of just wanted to give. I think it'll be a little bit shorter, but again, back in high school, I was in speech and debate, and what we were doing, we had to make a shirt for the year, and I helped design it. It was a salt shaker on the front, and then it had a verse on the back called Colossians 4:6, and I'm gonna Colossians 4:6 is, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so you may know how you ought to answer everyone. And it's kind of like a conversation starter, what are you doing with a salt shaker on your shirt? And if you know anything about speech, a lot of it is people are really lost, and abortion gets brought up a lot, stuff like that. So people would ask, what's that salt shaker for? And so we'd talk to them, and I know a lot of people would go into like deep prayer for people and explain like what our mission was as a Christian school, just like what that means and being that light. So that was that. But turning, I also want to ask you guys if you have any like big pieces of relationship advice.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like everyone, if you ask someone that's been married for a while, everyone kind of gives the same pieces of advice. So before we got married, at our wedding shower, we had everyone who was married write down their best piece of advice for us. And we still have these notes. But everyone said the same things. It was keep God the center of your marriage and never stop dating each other. And I'm not gonna lie, it took us a while, and we're still not perfect, but it took us a while to like get the hang of those things, really like implement those in our day-to-day life. So yeah, those are my two pieces.
I got a couple. One actually, it was inspired by a message through Life Church, Craig Rochelle, where he very specifically talked about praying together. It's praying by itself is a very intimate action, and so by bringing somebody else into that and making it a habit, it helps that intimacy, and that's been a big thing. We don't leave for work without spending, even, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but 30 seconds, keep
Before you
them
go out the
safe, so it's been a big thing. Again, that goes back to keeping God center of the relationship. Probably one of my biggest pieces of advice is nobody's above apologizing. It's super easy to think I'm right and that's it. But it's, it's the cliche, never go to bed angry, but that starts with an apology. That starts with opening up the doors to the relationship and just saying like, come on, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And, I think that's been a big thing for us. We've never really been in a situation where we let that linger beyond that. And I think it's done a lot.
Yeah. Communication is so important, and it took me, because I'm not a words person, and he is. So I would our first couple of years, the first year especially, was difficult because I was just kind of like tiptoeing around any little thing that he did that I didn't like. I'd be like, oh, I don't like that, but I keep it to myself because I didn't want to be that person that just like complained about everything. And I would let it build so long, and then I would literally like explode, and he'd be like, what just happened?
What did I do?
That was 2 months ago,
She
and
says
I'm
that.
still
There was
hanging
very
on
few
to it.
explosions.
No. But no, that took me a long time to learn how to like communicate the little things, but in nice ways.
Don't let
I'm
it
sorry
build
that I
up.
put the toilet
Yeah.
paper under and not over.
Things like that.
You guys.
Laundry goes in the hamper.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it gets in the hamper.
It's so much better.
You guys remind me a lot of us, because I'm the same way. He's the words person, and he's gotten me out of my comfort zone and with communication and that kind of thing.
There is one book I will recommend to you guys and to everyone. Couple years ago, I read this. I don't know if you've actually read it yet, but it's the 5 Love Languages book.
Okay.
So Aaron is very much a words of affirmation person, and as I said, I am not. And reading that book made me it just clicked for me how to love you. And the book talks about ways to love people with these different love languages, and so I didn't know how you needed love, if that makes sense, until I read that book, and it just all clicked.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times you try to love with your own love language.
Yeah.
She'll tell you, I'm she can confirm. I always say it if there's ever a day where I don't tell you I love you and you're beautiful, you let me know, because that's how I am, right?
Yeah. It's how you communicate. Right.
But I know,
and I'm
might.
the opposite.
I mean, I know that carries weight with her, but I know
Yeah.
she'd rather have quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Acts of service, those kind of things.
Hmm.
Gifts too.
Yeah.
Peanut M&Ms always. It's easy.
Man, this is like a mirror.
I know.
I had one more thing that I really kind of think has always been a piece that I never forget, and that's the honeymoon stage ends. It's not always going to be easy, but it's worth fighting every day. And I think especially with our younger generation, you're seeing it happen a lot more. In fact, we put up our 15th anniversary. I put up a Facebook post, and one of my friends from college just kind of jotted a little message that was like, it's nice to see at least one of our friends has made it this far. And it's so sad because we've seen so many other couples in our, a friend group that they didn't. And it's not because they didn't love each other. It's not because they didn't create a foundation. It's just, it gets hard. It does. There are hard days. There's, we joke about it all the time when it comes to, finances, and eventually the washer and dryer is going to die, and there are
And then
tough times.
when kids get involved, it gets even harder. But
But it is worth fighting every day and making sure that you are fighting together. So,
Yeah, I like that. What did you say earlier? You make sure that you're like dating every day, like dating even after
never
you're
stop
married.
dating.
Never
yeah.
stop
Never
dating.
stop dating. That was
make
it.
Make it a priority. So
I,
last year,
what?
is that what you're going to talk about?
What? Well, last year I actually came across, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or something, but it was a really insightful piece of kind of advice. And it was a 2-2-2-2 rule. Obviously when you're married, they basically said twice a week, try to be intimate with each other. Twice a month, go on a date. Or was it every other month?
No. Every 2 weeks, go on a date.
Yes.
Every 2 months,
2 months.
go on like a little weekend getaway.
Oh,
or
okay.
Something that is
Yeah.
send the kids somewhere and just spend some
Yeah.
time that's quality together. And every 2 years, make sure you're taking some sort of trip together.
Gotcha.
Again, separate from the kids.
Vacation.
But again, going back to intentionality, just really setting those things in stone where I'm doing this every 2 weeks. And it shouldn't be a chore, but you do something enough times, it creates a habit.
Yeah.
And so it's that every 2 weeks, we're just, even if it's us grabbing food or just going out of our way
Yeah.
to spend time together, that isn't just let's grab McDonald's on the way home.
Yeah.
Or again, with the every 2 months kind of thing, if it's just shooting down to, the lake or going shopping together, separate, you buy what you want to buy, I buy what I want to buy kind of thing, and just making it intentional about us.
Right.
It was a super, as simple as it sounds, that 2-2-2-2 rule, it was a super insightful, game-changing mentality shift for us.
And it's not what you have to do, it's just like what you do.
Yeah.
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 I like that. Okay, so just want to lasso it back into the light thing, if any of you guys had anything to add for that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, light at its core really goes back to earlier as legacy. And I think we can't forget that legacy goes so much deeper than just who we see in the day-to-day. It's, a light between spouses. It's, again, a light between family. That light, that concept of light and who we are shouldn't change when we open the door in our house, right? I always, to kind of spin it into another story, I always used to hear from one of my friends, he kept this weird plant by his front door. It was kind of a decorative plant, but he made it a habit. His thing was every day as he'd walk into his house, he'd touch the plant, leave his cares there, walk in, and the plant would die. And mind you, he wasn't exactly a green thumb, but he kind of took it as a personal anecdote of I need to leave my negativity here because my negativity, my light, infects all those around me. And if I'm bringing negative light into my household, if I'm bringing negative light to the people I care most about, let alone, the people I see on a daily basis, how does that light, that legacy impact those around us? And again, if we could even bring a remotely positive light to those outside of our household. Like imagine the
Right.
impact it could have. So.
Yeah.
I know, especially as a teacher, when you're in a classroom full of kids, they sense when something is off. And that's going to be like a really big thing when I start teaching, just bringing my best into the classroom every day. And I know you do counseling with kids, and like you never know what they're going through.
Oh,
and it's
absolutely.
really important to keep a positive mindset and everything and be a light to them.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge thing. You know, you never know somebody until you've walked, you know, a mile in their shoes.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to put on a straight face, but it's really hard to hide a sour light.
Yeah. Well, I think we're kind of getting close to the end. I want to thank you guys for being on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Our
for
best.
having us.
Our biggest 2 fans.
Yeah, thank you for commenting on every episode.
Hey,
It means a lot.
That's what
Always will.
aunts and uncles are for.
Always
But Jenny and Aaron, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Of course. Next episode, Thursday at 8 a.m. And we'll see you guys.